Text appears that says, 2 out of every 3 people with serious mental illness want to work. A man wearing a black chef's outfit appears standing inside the Science Museum. He has an Elements Cafe badge on his shirt.
Very stressful, really depressed because, I couldn't provide for myself or my family.
Text appears that says, more than 85% of people with serious mental illness are not working. A woman with shoulder-length black hair in a gray uniform appears. She is standing next to a badge-shaped logo reading GCAC Armored Car, Sauk Rapids, Minnesota.
They said, you didn't seem as happy, you seemed down a lot, which I had a lot of stress in my life, so I was.
Text appears saying, getting back to work is an important part of the recovery process. There is a program that can help. A man appears in a black tuxedo. He is sitting inside the Ordway Theater.
It was frustrating at first, but I wouldn't give up. I was determined to get a job.
An animated title screen appears with the silhouette of a city in the background. Text says, individual placement and support. Text appears saying, individual placement and support, IPS, is 3 times more effective in helping people with mental illness find jobs than other programs. The animated city title screen appears again with a small video window showing the man in a tuxedo at the Ordway handing out programs to people as they walk up the stairs. Text in front of the video says, Robert.
This is the best job I ever had. I get along with the people, I got customer service, but this job right here, I ain't missing no day. If I'm sick, I'll come to work and let them send me home. I love coming to work, I'm happy, I get along, it's just like my second family.
The animated city title screen appears with a small video window showing the woman in the gray uniform talking, a clip of her driving a blue armored van, and then her walking from the van into a building. Text appears in front of the video that says, Colleen.
Having the job gave me the confidence to know that I could pay bills. And I know that probably doesn't seem like a very fun thing to most people, but to me, to be able to cover my bills and my expenses and take care of things and feel like I'm contributing made me feel a lot better. And this job has given me a little bit more security than I had before.
The animated city title screen appears with a small video window showing the man in the black chef's outfit talking, and then a clip of him serving food to a woman. Text in front of the video says, Antoine.
Now that I'm working, I feel like a new person, This program itself helped me out, through the struggles, taught me perseverance, don't give up. Your opportunity is coming, and I stuck with it, and it happened.
Text appears that says, IPS helps people with serious mental illness find and keep good jobs in the community. The text fades to a woman with longer black hair sitting next to a plant with large leaves. A title at the bottom reads, Sonia Vinnis, Vocational Rehab Counselor.
I really think I reflect back to the saying, it takes a village to raise a child. With IPS, it takes a village to help individuals who have had confronted significant barriers and difficulties in their life to get them to the point where they're able to work.
A woman with shoulder-length dark hair standing in the Ordway Theater lobby. A title at the bottom reads, Amy Solberg, Vocational Rehab Counselor.
I think that it's really the trend of the way we need to look at how we look at employment services.
A woman with chin-length blonde hair standing in the Science Museum. A title at the bottom reads, Deanna Langton, Vocational Rehab Counselor.
And the teaming approach between myself as a vocational rehab counselor, the employment specialist, and the mental health clinicians, all being on the same page and being there at the same time for the consumer.
A man with short dark hair and dark facial hair standing in the Ordway Theater lobby. A title at the bottom reads, Joshua McElrath, Mental Health Practitioner.
And what IPS does really good is they just focus on the employment piece, and that makes it a whole lot different than what it used to be.
Amy.
We are really just about, somebody says they want to go to work, let's get them into a job.
With IPS, you have that team support, and everybody contributes, and everybody's working towards the same goal, and everybody's supporting that person.
Amy.
I like that we don't have to wait anymore.
An animated title screen appears with text that says Robert, Employer, Ordway Theater, and a video that shows the outside of the Ordway Theater, followed by Robert opening the door and handing out programs to people. The scene then changes to a close-up of Robert sitting in the Ordway.
I lost my dad in 2010. I couldn't cope. I was going through a whole lot, so I said, I figured I went into a depression mode.
A photo of Cincinnati followed by a photo of empty beds at a shelter home.
I was living in Cincinnati, so I came back here, and I was in it's what you call a shelter home, whereas I'm going around looking for a job, and I got so depressed.
Josh.
Robert went through some tough spots, and he seemed to always stay motivated and was always willing to get up and get moving, and I think that is a great testament to his personality and his character.
A photo of Robert looking sad, followed by a clip showing the front of the Ordway Theater, and then a clip of Robert opening the door.
There's a few opportunities that Robert had, and they seemed to fall through the cracks, and it was pretty tough for him, but he didn't give up. He's doing great now. It's quite an experience for Robert, and I can't tell you how great it is to see somebody like that be successful, because he deserves it very much so.
Josh referred me to a therapist, then we started, and then I went through, I said, well, I want to go back to work. That's when he got me with Amy.
Amy.
The way IPS kind of helped, I think, or way the process helped with Robert, is he was really motivated, he's out there.
A close-up of an application being filled out with a pen, and then back to Amy.
He was getting his applications in, changing his resumes, didn't miss appointments, and he had gotten a job offer prior to working at the Ordway and was told he couldn't have that job. And what IPS did is we were able to be in communication with him.
Robert.
She helped me with whatever I needed, which is pretty good.
A person's legs walking down the sidewalk of a busy street.
It's looking for a job. It's kind of hard at first, but when you got people behind you that's pushing you, it works out in the end.
A woman with longer blonde hair standing in the Ordway Theater lobby. A title at the bottom reads, Brittany Thiel, Employment Specialist.
I began working with Robert in January of 2013. We did a lot of job searching initially. He had several really good leads, things that we thought were going to work out.
We started off with doing my resume.
Hands holding a pen and a yellow notepad.
Then we started going. She was giving me leads.
Robert.
But it was one job I really wanted, and that was this one.
Brittany.
There was a job fair at Goodwill Easter Seals.
Robert.
Once she told me, yeah, they having a job fair, you should go. So I went, and boom, there it was. Here I am today.
Robert handing out programs to people walking up a stairway.
And I feel so much better about myself, whereas I can reach out and try to help someone else.
A woman with shoulder-length dark hair standing in the Ordway Theater lobby. A title at the bottom reads, Susan Bialis, Robert's supervisor.
Robert is doing really well in his job. He's one of our most dependable employees.
A nighttime view of customers entering the Ordway Theater, followed by a fade back to Robert.
He's very customer friendly. He's always seeking out patrons and helping them, and he's very dedicated to the job.
I never thought I'd be working here, and it makes me feel good.
An animated title screen appears with text that says, Colleen, employer, GCAC, and a video that shows a blue armored van driving down the road, followed by Colleen sitting in a theater setting talking. This is followed by Colleen in her gray uniform standing next to the GCAC logo.
I was just about to get a divorce, and I decided that in order to support myself and my kids, I needed to get back to work.
An outside view of the HDC building in Cloquet, Minnesota, and then back to the close-up of Colleen.
So through the grapevine, I found out about the Workforce Center and a little bit more about HDC having an employment program. It was actually one employment specialist. She introduced me to my vocational rehab counselor, and then from there, I just decided they started giving me courage a little bit at a time to get into the job market.
A woman with short blonde hair sitting next to a plant with large leaves. A title at the bottom reads, Terry Dudley, Career Counselor.
The way that I helped Colleen connect with the employer for whom she now works is I heard about this particular job opening and I contacted the employer.
A blue armored van driving down the road, followed by a close-up of Colleen driving the van into a garage. This is followed by a woman with long brown hair sitting next to a plant with large leaves. A title at the bottom reads, Amanda Peters, Employment Specialist.
I referred Colleen to him for an interview and he really liked her and he hired her quickly.
We heard about the job lead from Terry Dudley, and we worked with her as well as Sonia with vocational rehab to support Colleen.
Sonia.
With Colleen's situation was just, I think, an exemplary example of collaboration. She knew she wanted to work, and she knew that she needed to work. There was a lot going on in her life.
Colleen on stage acting in a play.
Because she has a background in theater, I looked at her and I said, Colleen, this is a role that you're playing. And that really clicked with her.
A man with brown hair and glasses sitting in a theater setting. A title at the bottom reads, Joel Sakula, County Seat Theater.
And now that she's gotten a new job, I see a new growth of confidence, and it now also shows in her personal life, but he's also on stage, I think.
Colleen on stage with other actors, followed by a return to the close-up of Colleen by the GCAC logo.
I have friends that have known me in the theater for years that have said, you know, when I first met you, they said, you didn't seem as happy, you seemed down a lot. It makes me feel really proud, and it makes me feel really grateful to have found people that were able to help me.
A woman with short brown hair next to the GCAC logo. A title at the bottom reads, Vicki McKnight, GCAC HR Manager.
She had the abilities and the background for what we needed as far as good character, and that's why we went with her.
Sonia.
The last I heard, they would like to have 100 more Colleens, and that please send folks like Colleen their way.
An animated title screen appears with text that says, Antoine, employer, Elements Cafe, and a video that shows a close-up of Antoine standing in the Science Museum, followed by a clip of him working with hamburger in the kitchen, and then back to the close-up again.
I was getting denied cooking jobs that I was qualified for because of my background.
Deanna.
He was a man who clearly was under a lot of stress due to various barriers in his life.
A photo of Antoine appears and then fades back to Deanna.
Rejections from employment in the past and not having work, and kind of questioning, how he was going to get back to working again.
The close-up of Antoine is seen, followed by a clip of him cooking on the grill in the cafe.
We just set a plan on what I wanted to do, and I told her my passion was cooking. I was a culinary student at the Art Institute.
A woman with chin-length dark hair standing in the Science Museum. A title at the bottom reads, Ann Mornis, Employment Supervisor.
We really supported Antoine by, kind of being that cohesive group that would listen to what he was dealing with.
A close-up of hands going over notes on a yellow notepad, followed by the close-up of Antoine.
Met every 2 weeks, and just talk about how everything was going for me, and, they knew my situation as far as I was offered 6 other jobs before I graduated school, and they all rescinded on me.
An outside view of the Science Museum, followed by a close-up of the Elements Cafe sign, and then scenes of Antoine performing different tasks in the cafe kitchen.
And when I came here to the Science Museum, they gave me an opportunity.
He busted down barriers that he was faced, and he persevered and made his goal become a reality.
Antoine.
I've been homeless, incarcerated, and I came through all that, and I feel like a new man now.
Antoine working at the grill, and then fade back to Deanna.
Antoine is just such a great example of how the IPS model can work.
Close-up of Antoine, followed by Antoine serving food to a woman.
It's never too late, don't ever give up, and don't give up hope, because someone's always out there to help.
Screen fades to a dark cityscape background. Credits scroll on the screen that say 4 out of 10 clients who obtained a job with the help from IPS remain employed a decade later. Thanks to everyone who took part in the making of this production. Colleen's team, Amanda Peters, Employment Specialist, Human Development Center. Joel Sakula, General Manager, County Seat Theater Company. Sonia Vinnes, Vocational Rehabilitation Counselor, Vocational Rehabilitation Services. Terry Dudley, Career Counselor, Northeast Minnesota Office of Job Training. Vicki McKnight, Human Resources Manager, GCAC. Antoine's team, Deanna Langdon, Vocational Rehabilitation Counselor Senior, State of Minnesota Vocational Rehabilitation Services. Ann Mornis, Mental Health Coordinator, RISE Incorporated. Robert's team, Amy Solberg, Vocational Rehabilitation Counselor, Minnesota Department of Employment and Economic Development. Brittany Thiel, Employment Support Consultant, Goodwill Easter Seals, Minnesota. Joshua Mickelrath, Mental Health Practitioner, Goodwill Easter Seals, Minnesota. Susan Bialis, Event Services Assistant Manager, Ordway Center for the Performing Arts. A Minnesota Deed logo appears, followed by a Minnesota DHS logo. Produced by Rivertown Communications. Video production and custom e-learning. www.rivertown-inc.com.